Greetings, awesomes. Welcome back. Thanks for joining me in this video here too. All right, so I wanted to quickly go over and take a look at the product description, the project description, project assignment description, more specifically, that you can find listed on here under the course resources. All right, find the white paper. I've already got it pulled up here. So in general, the thing that's really tough sometimes to understand about a white paper is what it is. It's not a sales pitch. It's kind of like writing a report in a way, only really trying to look for a condensed version of about something very, very, very specific that presents what the problem is, right? So there's this problem, there's this issue, right? And of course, the company that's usually writing them are the ones that are saying, oh, and this type of thing, right, that we happen to sell is the solution. So it's salesy in a way that it's not saying all of the glitter and glam of, like you see in a normal advertisement, right, or a TV spot, or something like that. Or there's not a famous actor, trying to pitch this particular product. But we're saying, here is this problem, right? Here is this thing that happens, right? It causes this, maybe it causes that, it can do this, it does that, but here is a solution to that. One of the things is this thing, right? And talk about how it solves that particular problem. Now, a lot of times how we do this is, at least when I write white papers, first thing is you try to figure out is, okay, what are the pain points? What are the issues that are being caused by this problem that most touch people, right? That is mostly related to whatever it is they're doing. It could have something to do with their business, could have something to do with their home, could have something to do with, even if it is a product that is, let's say, for recreation, something that's a hindrance, right? Something is causing a problem, right? But there's this thing that's a solution. And then as I try to kind of narrow it down, and try to think more, 3 more questions I might ask and say, for what business or industry or companies does X product or service apply? So if you look at it from let's say that you really, really love a particular product, right? Let's say that you particularly are in love with something, right? Whatever that product is, right? Say there's something that you particularly use that has really been meaningful, right? For you and your family, or that there's something that you use at work that once was something that was really difficult or arduous to do, now isn't because of this product, right? So please keep on. You don't have to invent a product, okay? It's helpful actually if there is an existing product, and then you are just going to pretend like whenever you find that product or that service, that thing that you want to talk about, you pretend like you kind of take on the role of being as working for that company, and you've been tasked to write a white paper about the issues and the problems around, and how a product even like yours, or what your thing, that product falls underneath, or that service falls underneath, how those things solve those issues. And then towards the very, very, very end of your white paper, then you might say, and on top of that, what ours does, in addition to solving these problems, it also does this, right? So that they get to do your little sales pitchy thing at the very end. Okay. What specific problems would X product or service alleviate, eliminate, or reduce? How does X product, service alleviate, eliminate, or reduce that problem? So once you figure out those 3 things, that helps you then start to think about the structure of the white paper, especially when you talk, because once you set up the problem and you start to talk about these solutions, you can talk about how this product alleviates or eliminates or reduces a specific problem, and then how more specifically does your product. So the number 2 and number 3, the difference between number 2 and number 3 right there is, one is talking about it in a large general sense of all products like this, right? Then there is more specific of how does your specific, right, the one that you have, right, how it actually does it, right? Either differently or more specifically. All right, so in a white paper, you're kind of going, here's the big problem. here are a product, or here's a product that solves that problem in these general ways, and then your specific product does it. Right, and that's that little sales pitchy thing that you get to do kind of at the end in a way. So I kind of provided you with 3 different scenarios here to maybe help you think about it. Put yourselves in the shoes of a content creator, right? Or you could call it an employee, right? Or maybe you are, an inventor, right? And so you really want to what you're trying to do is get people to understand what your product actually does. And that's what white papers do. So remember, right, a white paper is a persuasive, authoritative, in-depth report on a specific topic that presents a problem and provides a solution. So what's interesting about that too, right, is the authoritative part, right, in the in-depth report. So this paper isn't meant to be long. All right, so we're not looking for a 25-page paper here. We're not even looking for a 10-page, I can't remember what I said in here, but generally these are 4, 5 pages-ish, right? So 4 to 7. Okay, so right at 4 to 7, and that's including title page, references, and a conclusion, right? So the bulk of your paper is only going to be 4, maybe 3 pages. You have your introduction, leading up to a problem statement, and then you have your the third thing here is your background of the problem, which is really, really research heavy. So that background is going to be that authoritative, in-depth part, right? And then when you propose a solution, you're going to really propose it from that situation of being an authority on that product or service, right? And demonstrate so by writing it in such a way that gives you that ethos, right? We think back about your composition 1 and 2 classes, right? Ethos, pathos, logos. I'm going to use a lot of logos from your research to bolster your ethos in this paper. And then, of course, when you're providing the solution, there may be a little bit of pathos because they might feel the emotion of, okay, this thing can alleviate, reduce, and help, me with a potential problem or this problem. Okay, so put yourself in the shoes of a content creator. You could also choose a very specific product for an industry that you already have knowledge. And I say about that no white paper exists. If you've got a particular product or a widget, right, or something like that you're particularly fond of, and regardless of whether there's a white paper out there or not, maybe not necessarily as important, but do check and see and make sure that yours is nothing like it. That's the biggest thing. You want to make sure that you don't write just another of the same white paper that already exists. So I've got one of the examples there is from Little Fuse Inc. They're really good at addressing prevalent problems in the industry since they deal mostly with fuses. A lot of the problems they're going to talk about is overcurrent, right? Or they're going to talk about the potentiality of fire or arc flashes that happen if you do not have a fuse, the right type of fuse in fuse boxes, right? Or in other industrial electronic type products. So it's a safety issue. And you can take the service approach. This one's a little more challenging. I encourage you to try to keep this business to business as opposed to business to customer. But do your best on that. It's really, really hard it's hard to stay within that vein sometimes, but do your best. So the best place to start is just research. If there's something that you're interested in, start there. If there's something that you already know exists, start there. If there's something that you're already exposed to, see what you can find within that vein, and then we can kind of take it from there. The other thing that's kind of cool about this, when you go to sit down to write it, are you can use images and graphics and charts, or you generally always expected to be seen, as you'll see in the examples of those that I posted. This isn't a straight up essay, right? So you have your title page, and then you could do columns, you can include a graph, you can be really, really, really creative with how you present the information. Okay, so that's more than probably a general overview of Project 3, but hopefully that answers some questions for you and gives you a little bit more to go with. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video or so. Sorry that took so long. Till then.